They are convinced that you put some kind of love spell on them. That's how bad they have it for you. Yeah. Well, Spirit is saying that this crush or special person can't explain how they feel and what they're feeling towards you. It's really just like it's stronger than strong. Well, this person has really reached a point where they're literally asking themselves, like, what in the hell is wrong with me? They're unstoppable. But that's just how they feel because that's what makes sense. You know what I mean? So they may joke about that, like, did you put a love spell on me? Okay, cool. There is a specific kind of person who has spent years being proud of one particular thing about themselves. Not their achievements, not their appearance, not the external things that other people tend to measure themselves by. Something quieter than all of that. Something interior. Their self-possession. The unshakable sense that they know who they are, know how they operate, and will never, not completely, lose the thread back to themselves no matter what happens around them. Well, they have been through things, difficult things probably. And they came out the other side intact, maybe a little guarded, maybe a little sealed around the edges, but intact. Present. In control of the one thing they decided a long time ago would always remain theirs, their own mind. And then they met you. What is happening to this person right now is not just attraction. Anyone who has lived long enough knows what attraction feels like. The pleasant pulse of it, the warmth, the interest. This person has felt that before. They know that territory. They know how to navigate it without losing their footing. This is not that. What is happening to them right now is something closer to a full internal reorganization. Like someone reached into the carefully arranged architecture of who they are and quietly shifted everything 3 inches to the left. Nothing is broken. Nothing is obviously wrong. But nothing is where they left it either. And they keep reaching for their usual sense of steadiness and finding it slightly out of reach. And the disorientation of that is something they genuinely cannot explain to anyone, including themselves. So they make jokes about love spells. They laugh about being enchanted. They tell their friends with a kind of performative bewilderment that they think something supernatural must be happening because the alternative explanation that they have simply, completely, irreversibly fallen feels too large to say plainly, too exposed, too real. Here is the psychological truth that nobody names in situations like this. When someone who is deeply identified with their self-control loses it over another person, the experience is not just emotional. It is existential. It touches something much deeper than the question of whether they like you. it touches the question of who they are. Because if they are not the person who keeps it together, who stays grounded, who spiral into obsession over anyone, then who are they? If thoughts of you can hijack a mind that has always answered to its owner, if their own body can betray them with a racing heart and clumsy words and eyes that keep searching for you before they have consciously decided to look, then what exactly is in control here? Well, the answer, of course, is nothing. Nothing is in control. And for someone who built a significant part of their identity around the idea that they are always fundamentally in control of themselves, that realization does not arrive gently. It arrives like a flood. And this is where it gets interesting and where the hidden emotional complexity of their situation becomes something worth truly understanding. Most people assume that when someone develops feelings this intense, the primary emotion must be joy, or excitement, or the euphoric disorientation of new love. And those things are present, genuinely and deeply present. When they think about you, there is real warmth, real happiness. The kind of happiness that makes a person smile at nothing, that makes ordinary moments feel luminous, beautiful, that makes them want to reach out and share something with you for no reason other than wanting you to be part of whatever small thing just delighted them. Beautiful. But underneath all of that, running like a current beneath the joy, is something quieter and more complicated. Grief. Beautiful. Not grief for anything lost, but grief for the version of themselves they will never quite return to. Because here is what nobody tells you about falling this hard for someone. You cannot unlearn it. Beautiful. You cannot unknow what it feels like to be this alive in someone's presence. Beautiful. You cannot go back to the version of yourself who moved through the world without this particular awareness. The awareness that someone exists who can make your own mind disobey you. Beautiful. Who can make your body respond before your brain has even caught up. Who can make a Tuesday afternoon feel like something worth remembering simply by being somewhere in the vicinity. Beautiful. That version of themselves, the contained, self-sufficient, needs nothing version, is gone. Not dramatically, not all at once. Beautiful. But quietly, irreversibly, in the way that all genuine transformations happen. They have been changed by you without your consent and without their own. Beautiful. And they are still in the process of figuring out how to feel about that. You probably have no idea that simply being yourself has dismantled someone this completely. Beautiful. You are not doing anything extraordinary. You are not performing or strategizing or deliberately casting any kind of spell. You are just you. Beautiful. With your particular laugh and your specific way of looking at things and the quality of attention you bring to conversations and the way your presence fills a room without pushing. Beautiful. You are just existing, and that existence for this person has become something they cannot organize their internal world around anymore. They tried, incidentally. Beautiful. They actually made a deliberate decision at some point to think about you less, to be more reasonable about this. Beautiful. To apply the same rational management they applied to everything else in their life and simply dial it back. Get some perspective. Remember who they are. Beautiful. And what happened was the psychological equivalent of being told not to think about something and being able to think about nothing else. The more they pushed, the louder you became in their mind. Beautiful. Not because you were demanding anything. Just because suppression does not work on feelings this genuine, it never does. It only makes them louder. So they went looking for answers instead. Beautiful. And this is one of the most quietly human things about this entire situation. The fact that this person, beautiful, who would previously have laughed at the idea of searching the internet for explanations about why someone cannot stop thinking about another person, has done exactly that. Beautiful. Has gone down rabbit holes about soulmates and past lives and twin flames and frequency connections, not because they literally believe in all of it. Beautiful. But because the need to understand what is happening to them is real. Beautiful. And the language of science and logic, which would normally be their first resort, does not have adequate vocabulary for what they are experiencing. Beautiful. Love at its most consuming has always pushed people toward the metaphysical, not out of irrationality, but out of necessity. Beautiful. Because some feelings are simply too large for ordinary language, and the only frameworks that come close are the ones that acknowledge forces larger than individual will. Destiny. Fate. Beautiful. A connection written somewhere before either person had a choice in the matter. They are not sure they believe in those things, but they are less sure that they do not than they used to be. Beautiful. And here, in this place of suspended certainty, somewhere between knowing and not knowing, between wanting to reach out and holding themselves back just slightly, is where they're living right now. Beautiful. The testing behavior makes complete sense from this angle. When they held back a little, waiting to see if you would reach first, that was not a game. Beautiful. That was someone desperately trying to gauge whether the ground is safe before they commit their full weight to it. Beautiful. Because they are already more exposed than they have ever allowed themselves to be with another person. And the fear is not that you will reject them casually. Beautiful. The fear is something much more specific and much more devastating. The fear is that they will give you everything and you will handle it carelessly. Beautiful. Because here is what you need to understand about someone who has spent years being proud of their self-possession. The first time they truly let it go, It has to matter. Beautiful. It has to land somewhere worthy. They cannot do this in a small way. That is not who they are. Beautiful. When they finally cross the distance between what they feel and what they say, when they stop making jokes about love spells and start saying the actual true thing, it will not be a casual confession. It will be the bravest thing they have done in a very long time, possibly ever, because real vulnerability from someone who has never truly been vulnerable is not just emotional exposure. It is an act of complete trust, and they are building toward it slowly in that particular way of people who feel everything deeply and move carefully because of it. Every interaction with you adds something to the accumulation. Every moment where they laughed too loudly or stumbled over their words or caught themselves staring and looked away too quickly. Every one of those small, embarrassing, beautifully human moments is part of the process. The deep realization, the one that changes how you see all of this, is this. Their loss of control is not weakness. It is the most honest thing they have ever felt. All that self-possession they were so proud of, it was real, but it was also in some ways a form of armor. A very effective, very sophisticated form of armor that kept them safe and intact and functional and fundamentally alone in the most interior part of themselves. Nobody had ever gotten through it before. Not really. Not all the way. You got through it without even trying. And what that means, what that actually quietly, profoundly means, is that something in them recognized something in you that it had been waiting for. Not romantically, not in the fairy tale sense, but in the deeper, more animal sense of recognition, the sense that says, this one. This is the one I do not need to protect myself from. That recognition does not arrive by choice. It is not decided. It simply happens. And when it does, all the carefully constructed defenses become suddenly irrelevant. Not because they were torn down, but because they were no longer needed. They are still getting used to that, still adjusting to the strange and terrifying freedom of it, still learning how to exist in the presence of someone who has made all their armor feel unnecessary. Still figuring out how to be the person who says the true thing instead of the safe thing. But they are getting there. And every day, they think about you. Every smile that catches them off guard. Every moment they reach for their phone and then put it down. Every dream that leaves them waking with warmth and bewilderment in equal measure. They are getting a little closer to the door. A little closer to knocking. A little closer to saying the thing that has been true for longer than they have been willing to admit. That you did not put a spell on them. You just showed them without meaning to. What it feels like really to finally be somewhere they want to stay.
Like, there is no such thing as a wrong choice in love. There's no such thing as you will never be loved. Like, there is no timeline that exists where you do not come into connection with a soulmate that loves you wholly and completely. And as you grow and change, like as you expand as a person, you will naturally be met with somebody who meets you exactly where you are. And when you are incredibly lucky and you are ready, the universe blesses you with somebody who is willing to walk that path with you, and you get to experience love on such a deeper level. Like when you meet somebody who is just perfectly in alignment with you, and by that I mean you are on a journey of soul expansion. Like you are moving beyond, you are breaking cycles, you are breaking generational curses, you are completely transforming as a human being, as a divine being, and you meet this person who is also in that same mindset of, how can I learn? What can I learn from this? How much can I grow? Like, what can I do in my life? What can I experience with my life? What good can I bring into this world? And you meet that person, you cross paths, that becomes this. And that is so different than this and this and this. And like, there are so many beautiful beings in this world who are on journeys of redefining what love actually means for them, what they actually desire to experience in a connection with another being, because so many have been conditioned to believe that love is supposed to hurt, or love means sacrifice. Love means you have to compromise and you have to, give up parts of yourself in order to be with somebody. But that's not what love of divine is. Love of divine asks you to give up ego, which is different than giving up things that really mean something to you, things that are really important to you, qualities, characteristics of your being. And when you finally get to this point, when you have done all of the work, and you will, if you are somebody who resonates with this, you will be exploring yourself and learning more about yourself until the day that your soul leaves your body. But it becomes more of a joy than it is work, right? But you've done so much to break free from all of this toxicity and old patterning that kept you repeating these same cycles that were so unhealthy, not just for you, but for your life that you're building, for the people that you're connecting with even. And you reach this point where it's like, oh my God, like I get to choose who my partner is from a place of consciousness. Like I get to choose if I even want a partner, because I'm so content and happy within my own being that I'm good. Like I don't need it. I don't really want it based on what I've experienced. And you reach that point, and then the universe says, congratulations, you've passed the test. Here you go. Here's your soulmate. Somebody just like you, somebody who resonates with exactly what your mentality is, who loves the way you do, who enjoys life and experiences life from the same lens of divine love that you do. Here you go. It's yours. Enjoy. And you're sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, what? What do you mean? Like, I don't want it anymore. No. And the universe is like, no, here you go. Like, you're going to take this gift. It's going to come back around for you, and you're going to take this gift. That's when you know you've reached the point where you are ready. Because it's not that you're pushing this person away out of fear. You're not guarding yourself against this person. You're not saying stay away. Like I'm scared of you. You're saying, listen, I'm good. Like I don't need this. And this person is like, okay, well, I don't need this either, but I want this. And then you start asking yourself, I guess I don't need this, but do I want this? And then it becomes mutual exchange of two people who don't need one another, but desire one another, and build a life together based on the foundation of trust and security and love and expansion. And that's where you really get to dive into what intimacy is and what it means to like heal the deepest layers of yourself, because some layers really can't be done on your own. Some layers of healing can only be done in connection to another being, because they are things that you've experienced in connection to another being. But when you are so secure within yourself and you are so confident in your ability to show up as this version of yourself that you are so proud of, this version of yourself that you trust, then you don't have this toxic ego that's trying to push someone away when they're trying to come in closer and take a look at these parts of you, not so that they can poke and prod and hurt you, but so that they can help and heal and support you. You just start to view love in a completely different way. And there is so many people in this world who are reaching that point. There was a channel that I did years ago. You might not remember, but it was a wave. There was a wave of healers, of empaths, of people who were really diving in deep to the journeys of themselves and feeling very lost and vulnerable, and, you know, feeling the pressure that comes with being a person who self-reflects. I think you also, I want you to realize that so much of this world does not reflect within themselves, does not take time to think about the actions and the choices that they're making. You are very special in that way. Like, that is a superpower to be this in this world. But anyway, years ago, there was that wave, and it's all coming back around now. It's all coming to the surface now. We're coming to the shore, to where it's like, oh, you get to walk onto this shore. You made it out of whatever hell that was. You get to walk onto this shore, and you get to connect with your person. Like, you get to meet your person. Because you made it through all of that, you get to meet your person, and you're not carrying any of the weight of that. All you have in your heart is immense gratitude for finally being on dry and safe land after going through all of that. And it feels so light and effortless. Not because there isn't work still to be done, but because you went through all of that. It's like, thank God for this. Like, thank God. You just see love differently. You see connection differently. There's no more attachment. That's what it is. You've released the attachment, the anxious attachment, the fearful avoidant attachment. You've released the guard that kept you safe then, but you no longer need it now. And so you're stepping onto this beach, walking towards your person, and it's just going to feel like brand new love, like so gentle and soulful. Like, there's so much soul that is ready to come through the two of you together. I'm getting like Two of Cups energy, like soulmate union energy.